Hello, my name is Gary Reinhardt. I'm a geological consultant working with Buccaneer Resources here in Houston. I've been working with them in that capacity for a little over a year now. I'm not an employee of the company. I don't own any stock, nor do I have any options, grants, or warrants. What I do have is over 35 years of experience in the oil and gas business, principally in exploration and development, and much of that in the domestic arena with some international experience as well. Of that domestic experience, most of it has been in the Gulf Coast region of the United States, principally in onshore and offshore Texas and Louisiana, and in the deep water and shallow water parts of the Gulf of Mexico. I'm going to be talking to you at this point about NewTek again and the NewTek logs. The NewTek log that we're going to be addressing today is the number 1 Watson. What NewTek has done in the past is take older logs and apply new computer analysis techniques to the data recorded by those logs. This is good information for us to then use to normalize our interpretation of these data and begin to see things that might have been missed by the original operators or that may have been noticed by those operators at the time, but due to financial conditions, commodity prices, various other reasons were not taken advantage of by them at that time. So let's look and see what the Watson well might be able to tell us based on NewTek's interpretation of that data. The Watson well was drilled in 1991, so it's a relatively modern well compared to some that we have in the area. And in fact, it does have some porosity devices. The neutron and density porosity tools are very interesting in this well. The Austin Chalk is the zone that is particularly of interest to us in this well. This is about a half mile from where we're going to be spudding our first well. In what we see here is with the newer tools, we still see good permeability development based on SP. We still see good resistivity information here. We still see movable hydrocarbon indicated by computer analysis over in this track. What we do see is some indications that are of even better permeability than what we were able to see in the Vic well, because these tools are able to measure these kinds of readings much more effectively than they were able to in 1947. In fact, these tools were not even available in 1947. One of the things that's very interesting about this particular log response is in the porosity track. The density device is a device that has a pad that sits against the hole of the well bore. The neutron is more centered in the wellbore and is not affected by the size or the change in circumference of that wellbore. The density tool, that pad needs to stay up against the side of the hole to do its job. When it is not able to do that, that tells you something. In this case, we see neutron density porosity up in the unaffected part of the hole, and where we see very little permeability or porosity development. The neutron and density devices are measuring very similar values, which is exactly what you'd expect them to do. And we see the same thing as we go deeper in the hole. Right here in this lower chalk portion of the hole, though, we see that the density tool is no longer able to read the same porosity as the neutron tool. That we interpret to be hole rugosity. Hole rugosity means that the hole is no longer circular in shape. It's now become more oval in shape. And the ellipse, or the axis of that oval, not the ellipse, the axis of that oval is generally along stress lines where the rock is breaking out preferentially because it's under stress. As we release that stress in the wellbore, the well breaks out along those axes. And what we see here is that we have very good indication of that happening in this wellbore. What that would mean to us in this part of the state and in this trend is that we have fractures that are breaking out in the wellbore, and those fractures are what we're trying to explore for as we look for oil in the Austin Chalk. And that's why we're interested in drilling a well in this part of our acreage block. We're near the number 1 well, the Vic well, and we're going to be only about a half a mile away from this number 1 Watson well. We hope and expect to find fractures that this log is indicating, and we hope and expect to find oil that both of the wells implies there.